maybe when you first started your venue, you're a new owner, you're like, weddings are beautiful. I love planning parties and events, and that's what I'm going to do. Well, it's like, oh, now you're the plumber. Now you're the landscaper. Now you're the maintenance man. You don't really expect it all the time. So, you start with this
high,
uninformed optimism, right? You don't know everything yet, but you're so hyped. And then you kind of take a dive when you start getting more informed. And it's like, oh, now I'm a little pessimistic. But then the real fun comes, I think, when you set up and you understand everything, you're informed, and that informed optimism is when you can finally take off and scale.
This is the Venue Nest podcast, a space where every part of being a venue owner gets to exist. The beautiful parts, the hard parts, and everything in between. Welcome back to the Venue Nest podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Shepard, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Kelsey Smith, and we are privileged to have our partner, Braden, with us today. Thank you, Braden, for being here.
Thank you.
A fun fact about Braden is he was actually married at Riverbridge, which is Kelsey and I's venue, and that was the very first time we met him. I just want to tell the story. It's really dumb, but I'm telling it anyway.
Go for it. No, it's awesome.
So just picture, it was a cold winter day, and we were putting up a Christmas tree, a 16-foot Christmas tree, just so everyone's aware. And I had gotten the bottom two stacks on, and the very top one, I was on a ladder, and I just couldn't quite reach. And Braden and his fiance at the time, Annie, now his wife, they were touring Riverbridge with Kelsey. Kelsey was giving them the tour. And I was like, hey, you, why don't you come put up this Christmas tree, the top tier? And I told him if he put it on there, then they would get a discount. And I was a woman of my word.
Yeah. And that's how I saved my mother-in-law $200.
Not right. There's the story.
So that's how we originally met, but years passed. That was in what year? 20?
Yeah, 22.
So obviously you got married in 2022. We reconjoined in 2025, but we want to talk about those in-between years where you actually got into the wedding industry, became an operator of a venue, and now you manage operators of multiple venues. So tell us how you got there.
Yeah. So I was at the time investing in real estate myself in a couple different asset types. And I ended up partnering with my now partner in the wedding venues, Alex, and we bought our first wedding venue. And at the time, it was just another type of real estate that seemed exciting for us. And it honestly, it reminded me of how amazing my wedding day was at Riverbridge at your venue. So it kind of took the love for real estate investing and my love and my experience for the wedding day. And I was like, wow, this sounds like a lot of fun. Now, when we closed on the venue, it was like, oh crap, I've got to do all this. So that was a learning experience for sure. But
because you were kind of starting out from scratch. Was there any systems in place when you guys purchased the venue?
No. It was a very, it was ran by husband and wife.
Okay.
They did everything. They did 20 to 35 weddings a year. Very, very family owned, family run, sister-in-law did the landscaping. They cleaned all the tablecloths. They did all the tours, did all the weddings themselves. Their daughters and daughters' friends cleaned after the wedding, put on the event. So yeah, it was very kind of boots on the ground. And yeah, they did 35 weddings. And in our first year of running it, we did 115.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That's
incredible.
Wild.
Congratulations.
Yes. So what, I'm assuming pen and paper?
Yep, pen and paper.
Yeah. You were signing contracts, pen and paper wise. What was kind of that first, something's got to change here moment for you?
Yeah. It's funny because this is when I actually reached back out to Kelsey because Kelsey gave me and my wife our tour at Riverbridge. And I feel like, when you start a new venue or you're trying to set up those systems, you're just grasping at straws.
Totally.
And all I had to go off of was Kelsey did such a great job. Kelsey knows how to run a venue. Kelsey gave a great tour. So I reached out to Kelsey, kind of trying to pick her brain, ask her questions. Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And in the wedding industry, there's a lot of venue owners that want to help you, but our venues are also fairly close to each other. So it's kind of scary to reach out because, I mean, in a way, our venues are different, but we are competitors, you know?
Totally.
But that's what I have fallen in love with in the venue industry is that the whole aspect of collaboration over competition. And obviously, Kelsey was very willing to help. And that's just kind of how it was trial and error. I really figured it out by asking people that have been there. This is kind of funny, but I had a close family friend that her daughter just barely got married at a venue that I respected, seemed like they were doing really well. And I asked her, she asked about my venue that I just got and blah, blah, blah. I asked her, I said, hey, your daughter just got married. Is there any way you'd be willing to send me that contract that you signed? Because I'm like, that's what I had to do.
Yeah, you're just
Totally.
like pulling for anything.
Anything,
Yeah, building on
anyone.
everything.
Yeah. So I read through that contract, like, all right, I guess I got to add this because we were starting from scratch, right? It's like, okay, how to build a contract from square one. So yeah, that was me kind of trying to pick and pull from everywhere I could.
Oh man, that is a challenge.
It's tough when you're
Yeah.
building from scratch. So my question is, at what point were you were doing everything yourself? So at what point did you hire, and what was the most important piece to you about hiring someone for your venue?
I think it is, the wedding venue industry is very emotional, and finding someone that's going to run your tours, do your sales, basically run the whole venue, needed someone that cared about it as much as an owner would, right? So, funny story, I shared that experience about getting the contract from my family friend. As we got talking about it, her dream was to own a venue. So she's
that's
like,
wild.
if you ever have any space for me to work at your venue, let me know. And I was like, actually,
Yeah.
we need a venue director. So met with her, went through a lot of things, and we've grown together a lot, her and I, because at the beginning, like, how do you hire someone and give expectations when you don't even know yourself?
It's so true.
It's true.
So-
true.
We've been through a lot together, but it's great. It's great. She's been amazing.
Maybe for somebody who's listening, who's like, I don't know what a venue director is.
Mhm.
Could you maybe explain that to somebody?
Yeah, we've explained it in a previous episode, but we want to know what you say
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. I think the venue director is the heart and soul of the venue, the face of the venue, for us to give all or most of the tours with all of your couples, selling the space. They truly treat it like their own venue. They get emotionally tied. They love it. They help with planning visits to putting on and executing the wedding. So from tour to after wedding day, they're the heart and soul.
Yeah, totally. So
Mhm.
you started at Grand Victorian, obviously had to bootstrap to get any systems in place. We're going to talk about how you moved forward, trying a bunch of different softwares to see which one worked for you, and really the chaos of what's really happened. Like you can just be real about, it's kind of been a nightmare.
Yeah.
But before we even go there, in this time period of building out systems and trying to hire people, that's exhausting. It's emotionally draining. And I think that there's people that are in that same space who are listening to this episode. So what would you say to someone who either owns a venue or is operating a venue who is in that first few years or first few months that is just feeling so overwhelmed right now? Like, what could you just tell them, or what advice could you give them to just give them a little bit of hope?
Yeah. Well, it gets better. I think along with the emotional hardship that comes with it is kind of struggling through the lack of systems, because at
The
least
mess-ups.
the mess ups, the not having your systems dialed, because when everything falls back to you as the venue owner and you are doing everything yourself, you naturally take on and wear a lot of hats. Maybe when you first started your venue, you're a new owner, you're like, weddings are beautiful. I love planning parties and events, and that's what I'm going to do. Well, it's like, oh, now you're the plumber. Now you're the landscaper. Now
Yes.
you're the maintenance man. You're,
Yes.
you don't really expect it all the time. So, you start with this,
Hi.
uninformed optimism, right? You don't know everything yet, but you're so hyped. And then you kind of take a dive when you start getting more informed. And it's like, oh, now I'm a little pessimistic. But then the real fun comes, I think, when you set up and you understand everything, you're informed. And that informed optimism is when you can finally take off and scale.
That's such good advice.
So
Yeah.
good.
I love that.
So when you began, what systems were you trying? What worked? What didn't?
Yeah.
Because you went through a lot of different systems and softwares that you
Yeah.
tried.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think the first thing, so going from 30 something weddings to over 115, first thing we had to get our name out there more and make it easy for couples to book our venue. So, like, the first thing that we did was there wasn't an easy or clear way for couples to book a tour on our website. So we're like, all right, we need a tour booking software. That was like kind of first in my mind. Like, we need to get couples here to the venue, right? So tried a couple different tour booking softwares. That was first. Then we started booking more weddings. It's like, all right, we can't keep doing paper and pen contracts. So now we need a software to manage and keep track of all of our contracts. Well, now we're getting more leads because our marketing is pushing out to more couples. Now we need a CRM. So, and it just kept going. Like, I could go, now we're planning. We got to do our layouts, our guest count numbers, anyway. So at first it was trying to keep our head above water with systems and softwares. Now it's turned into how can we build the best systems and softwares so that for us to buy more venues and scale our venues that we currently own.
I would love for you to talk about how that plays a role within Venue Nest, because I think it's important for listeners to know your role within Venue Nest is a lot of shaping and creating what Venue Nest is because you've experienced it. So your tour booking software, your layouts, all of that you have experienced, and you are pouring that love into creating Venue Nest. And it's all of those things.
Yep. Yeah.
So how did you become part of Venue Nest?
Yeah.
Tell the story.
Well, I guess that's, what did you call it when we
We reconjoined.
Yeah. So that the Grand Victorian, that was our first venue that me and my partners owned. Now we currently own 4 venues and are coming up on a 5th. So Venue Nest we were kind of forced, because when you go from 1 to 2 venues, all of your systems can work for 1 venue. When you jump to 2, you have to have more of a structured system to be able to replicate it. And honestly, if you're doing 2 different systems at 2 different venues, you'll probably be fine. But if you want 3, 4, 5, 6 or more, it's like, all right, we need a system that is repeatable and scalable every single venue that we do. So we tried all the softwares out there on how to run a venue software, and we liked things from each one, but it didn't have everything. And funny enough, that's right when I reconjoined with, Kelsey saw what we were doing, buying venues, and she's like, Ashley, these guys are buying venues, so are we. And went to lunch with you, Ashley, and we talked about, you're like, I'm actually building a software, and I'm like, I'm trying every software.
Yeah.
So I guess that's how we kind of came together in Venue Nest, is with what you were building. And I've got to pay all credit due to like my 4 venue directors that I work with every day,
100%.
because they're in like their boots on the ground. They're in the dirt. Like, they know everything even way better than I do. So like that's who's built Venue Nest.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good point, because obviously as we're building and developing, people are testing it constantly behind the scenes, and all of our venue directors are using it, testing, figuring out the bugs. And I think one of the most challenging pieces that people don't talk about is the heartache and the kind of upset of when you're switching softwares and you're switching softwares and you're switching softwares, because you're like learning a new system and then you change, and then you're learning a new system and you change, or it doesn't work properly like it says it should, or, there's so much that goes behind it. And I think that one of the things I've learned is that the operators are really the ones who give the best feedback, because they're the ones dealing with the crisis on a day-to-day basis. They're the ones saying like, this feature works, this one doesn't, this one needs to be enhanced, this one, this. And so really, like, it has been, to your point, like, give credit where credit is due, because these operators of the venues are the ones who have consistently kind of been through the fire of this development. But it comes with the benefit of being able to build it in the right way, that we're not just randos building a software that's like, let's go make money. Like, that is not our intention. Our intention is to help as many venue owners and operators as possible.
Mhm.
And the only way we could do that is to actually get people who are operating them to help build it out.
Yeah, 100%. We talk about it all the time. Venue Nest, we built Venue Nest for 2 reasons. And for me, I think you guys can agree. It's the things that we wish we had when we were
Yes.
first starting our venue journey, and when we were along our venue journey wanting to just do better.
Yeah.
Provide a better experience for our couples, a better space. I think emotionally and operationally, that's what Venue Nest is.
Yeah. And really, that's what separates it from any
Yeah.
other software that you've used, right?
Yeah.
Is it had maybe the operational things, but it was like, where are they emotionally?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they don't see the day-to-day,
Yeah.
hiccups and heartaches that maybe their software is lacking or
Yeah.
doesn't have or doesn't provide. And there
Yeah.
has to be an emotional support system tied in there somewhere.
Yeah. Or for me, vice versa, I'm in countless Facebook groups for venue owners, and I could hear like some of their struggles they're going to, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me right now.
Yeah.
But then there was no clear, like, this comment says they do this comment says they use this software, this comment says they use this. I think what sets Venue Nest apart is we can collaborate in the community, but show directly, this is where in the software that you also have access to. Set it up like this. It's like
Yeah.
a screenshot,
Yeah, I love that.
It's like, it's not just the fluff.
Yeah.
It's the how to, but the where to.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So now that you built out systems and ops and you have softwares that your venue directors are using, my next question is, how do you manage managers? And what have you found to be the most challenging aspect of managing managers?
I think you said it earlier. And it was the constantly changing softwares, changing systems. I often feel bad because in this testing period and trial period that I've kind of shared with you guys of, we're going to try this software, we're going to try this, we're going to do this. My venue directors are the ones that are testing it, right? So they like think they're getting this set up, and then they're like, oh, it doesn't do this, 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 and this. And we're like, okay, let's go to here. And yes, I've put them through the ringer, but now that Venue Nest is built, they're all like, thank
Oh,
you.
here it is.
Thank
They're
you.
so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what does that
So
look
that's
like on
very
a
tough.
weekly basis? Like, just for someone, let's say someone's not even on Venue Nest yet, but
Mhm.
they're like, I just hired a venue director. I'm going to run away. And now I never have to like check back in, because I totally was there. I made this huge mistake when our catering company was growing really quickly.
Mhm.
And I was just like so overwhelmed that I was like, if I can just hire somebody, like I would get some time back.
Mhm.
And so I hired like our first chef. And I think I just was like, I hired him and a sous chef. And I was like, here you go. See you later. And
Yeah.
I kind of just like had to like back out. And in the process of this, what I learned was I wasn't emotionally present as much as I needed to be and physically present
Yeah.
for them to see leadership and direction in a way that was probably building. Instead, it was very much just like overwhelming for them operationally because I kind of just threw up on them
Mhm.
and was like, see you later, clean up this mess.
Yeah.
And so for someone who's just barely trying to step away and feeling like they got a little bit of their life back because they've hired someone, what are maybe 1 or 2 action items that you do on a weekly or monthly basis to
Mhm.
check in with your managers and to kind of gauge where they're at emotionally?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we learned the hard way.
Oh, don't we all?
The same,
Always.
same thing.
Yes.
With our second venue, it was a little bit further, like geographically where we live.
Mm.
So we kind of did the same thing, because previous real estate experience, we hired a property management company or like someone to run an Airbnb. And a lot of times in those cases, you can just kind of hire the property management company and then that's their job. And you're kind of like, they're going to make sure everything's taken care of. Well, with your venue, obviously, there's so many more details. There's more staff alone that your manager is now managing. So we tried that. And because the revenue is so delayed in venue business, because people are booking their weddings 6, 12, 18 months out for a year, we thought things were great because the books were showing they were great.
Yeah.
But when it all crashed and burned, it was because of our mistake of not being in touch with the managers. So now we don't do that. Now I'm in communication daily, but a dedicated time weekly to go over how our venue directors and managers are doing like emotionally with everything, as well as just the numbers.
Yeah.
So we at any given moment, I know at all of our venues exactly how many tours did we book in the last week, how many tours do we have upcoming on the schedule, and how many tours are like still pending, because a lot of the times from tour to signing the contract could be a week or two.
Yeah.
Sometimes more depending on the situation. But yeah, I think tracking the numbers and checking up on your people is the key to
I love it.
managing managers.
I love it.
Yeah.
Such great
Venue
advice.
Nest obviously takes care of one.
Yeah.
Venue Nest is going to track all of those things, the tours, the bookings, everything. You can click and see that. But number 2, just continuing to show up emotionally once a week for your staff. I love that. I love that.
So important.
Well, as you guys can see, Braden is an ops genius. He really understands operations and how to manage people, and that's why we love him, and that's why he's a partner. So
Mhm.
just a reminder that sometimes people circle back around in your life.
Yeah.
So treat people well.
Pretty cool to be here with you guys.
Yes.
So special.
Treat people well, and they come back to you when the time is right. So
Yeah.
thanks for listening to the Venue Nest podcast. Until next time, peace. I hope something in today's conversation made you feel a little more seen.
And a little less alone in all of this.
If it did, take a minute to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps more venue owners find this space.
And if there's something you're navigating, we'd love to hear from you.
You can find us on all of our socials, but more importantly, go join our Venue Nest community.
We're so glad you're here.
We'll see you next week.